nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting. If you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, we talked about at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access to changes, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all. He came up to me.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. At the end of such a momentous event, the word thank you seems kind of inadequate. But for all the millions whose lives will be saved, for the communities where life will be transformed, thank you. So thank you, President Biden, for your outstanding.
Okay, so the gaslighting continues. We're going to take a few minutes to talk about Joe Biden himself, more specifically what the people around Joe Biden are saying about himself, because apparently he's good to go, he's fit for duty, he's perfectly fine, and we need to shut the hell up and stop asking questions. So Biden's doctors, or doc, or whoever the hell examined this man a couple of days ago. He went to Walter Reed, got an examination. They said he's good to go. So he's fit for duty. He's fit to be the man at the helm in one of the most troubled times in our history. He's fit to be in charge of some of the most powerful weapons in the world, the nuclear codes. Even though just a few weeks ago, Biden's own people, his own DOJ, said that they couldn't prosecute him for mishandling classified documents like they're trying to do Trump. They couldn't do that to Biden because he's too old and senile. He's old, feeble, can't remember anything, don't know what's going on, don't even know when his son passed away, don't remember when he was vice president. So we just have to leave him alone because he's old and senile. But now his docs are coming out and say, oh yeah, he's good to go, nothing to worry about, stop asking questions. Now somebody's lying here. Either the DOJ is lying, saying that he's old and feeble and senile and they can't prosecute him, he can't stand court, or his doctors are lying, which is what I believe. Because look at him, man. He's talking constantly. He's always incoherent. It looks like they're doping him up with something. And the longer he's out in public in front of the camera, it starts to wear off. It starts to decline and he becomes really feeble. He looks so weak, so tired, so feeble. Especially when he's on a fight for a long time, when he's out there getting upset, trying to trash talk Trump, his brain just shuts down. He has a Mitch McConnell moment where he's just talking and all of a sudden doesn't know where he is. The man just looks completely lost. We see him leaving the stage. He has no idea where he is. He's pointing this way and that way and looking lost like, I don't know, somebody help me, somebody save me. So let's take a look at Joe Biden. Let's look at a few clips of this man to see who's really lying. Is the DOJ lying or is the doctor lying?
All of us should reject the dangerous statements made by the previous president that invited Russia to invade our NATO allies if they weren't paying up. He said if an ally did not pay their dues, he'd encourage Russia to, quote, do whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking.
sure. Back up.
Sheriff.
So there it is. What do you guys think? Is he faking this, or is his doctor lying? This man's 81 years old, going to be 82 this year. Clearly, he's in some stage of dementia they don't want to tell us. But they're going to leave him in charge of the nuclear codes. And he's really not in charge. This is what I've been saying. They ran a coup. The powers that be have run a coup on our country. This old feeble man isn't running the presidency. His office has been hijacked by a bunch of left-wing, unelected bureaucrats who are at the helm. They even tweet for this man. If you get on his Twitter account, you see all these long messages constantly. Joe Biden's not using Twitter. Come on now. Anybody with common sense knows that. But somebody is using his name and his title as president of the United States. They are speaking as the president of the United States. Like I said, they're telling him to sign documents. He doesn't know what he's signing. They're constantly pushing things like war against Russia and wars in the Middle East. This feeble old man has no clue what's going on. And they're speaking for him. They're trying to say stuff and saying this is coming from the mouth of the president when there are a bunch of lying sacks of shit, a bunch of unelected bureaucrats. And even the left-wing media, they can't even resist. They can't deny it anymore. So let's look at a short clip of SNL making fun of him.
I was just with him, and behind closed doors, Joe is incredible.
I was just with him, and behind closed doors, he's a whirlwind.
I was just with him, and behind closed doors, he's a dynamo.
I was just with him, and behind closed doors, he is strong. Joe got that grandpa monkey strength.
Biden is 81 years old. Isn't that a little concerning? You don't have to exaggerate to make voters feel better.
I'm not. Let's FaceTime him. I'll bet he's probably just right in the middle of the bike ride. Mr. President?
Hey, hold on. I'm just going to turn up the volume. Just got to find a button. There we go.
So we're going to react now. We're going to react to the CNN video to get a little bit more insight on the physician's report and see what the left-wing Dr. Sanjay has to say about this whole thing. Let's take a listen.
Breaking news in our health lead. President Biden's physician has just released his report on the president's annual physical. The routine exam comes at something of a critical time as the 81-year-old president faces concerns among even Democratic voters about his age and fitness. Let's bring in CNN's MJ Lee at the White House. MJ, let's start with you. We also got Sanjay coming. What is Biden's physician saying about the president's health?
Yeah, Jake, here is that letter that we have been waiting for from Dr. Kevin O'Connor. This is the president's physician. And I'm just going to tell you what the headline is. And it was something we expected, given what the president said earlier today, that everything had gone well. Dr. O'Connor saying that the president feels well and that this year's physical identified no new concerns. He also goes on to say that he continues to be fit for duty and fully executes all of his responsibilities without any exemptions or accommodations. I'll let Sanjay get into some of the medical details here, but I think it just bears stating, we obviously care a great deal about the president's physical health because he holds the highest office in the land and because he is 81 years old. He will be 86 by the time that he gets to the end of a second term, if he has a second term. And you know that there have been some discussions and questions raised about whether it would be fitting for the president to take
You see how soft they're being? They read his letter and she's trying to ease into the situation about this man being severely cognitively impaired. But Trump's doctor had a letter similar to this. When he was the president, they released similar letters. And this same network, they said, this is trash. This is a lie. Who wrote this? This is something that Trump himself might have typed up. What is this? They had all kinds of questions. They were extremely aggressive about it. But now they're just trying to ease into it. We know he's 81 and there have been some questions. What happened to all that aggression? What happened to all of that smoke that y'all had for Walter Reed? Because Trump went to the same hospital. Y'all had all this smoke saying, oh, this is a lie. Trump must have paid somebody off. Who are these doctors? How much money did he slide him? But now let's ease into it.
A cognitive test, and we just learned from the White House that the president decided not to do that, or rather his doctors decided that that wasn't necessary. This is what Jean-Pierre told.
no cognitive tests. So this is what we really want. We need to know if this man even knows where the hell he is, because he goes places and people always say, Mr. President, how are you? No, they need to ask, Mr. President, where are you? Because this man has no idea what's going on. But let's continue.
That decision. Take a listen.
The president's doctor has said, if you look at what this president, the president who is also the commander-in-chief,
Why is she so animated? Is she on something? We already know they got cocaine and other items and mushrooms and stuff going on at the White House. So she might be on something.
he passes a cognitive test every day, as he moves from one topic to another topic, understanding the granular level of these topics.
Now, of course, the
Gaslighting.
president's age, his health, they have been a huge part of the ongoing national political discussion. We've heard critics and supporters alike, expressing questions about the president's age and his mental fitness, his physical fitness. And we've seen the president increasingly sort of trying to test out different ways of swatting away those concerns. We heard him sort of trying to use humor earlier today. We've seen that increasingly coming from the president. We've also heard him trying to go after his Republican opponent on this issue. As a reminder, Donald Trump is 77 years old, Jake.
Dr. Gupta joins me now on the phone.
So they always have to lump Trump in there. Well, Trump's old too. He's old too. So it's not about being old. It's not about being ageist. Not necessarily about being ageist. Because we do need to start asking questions. When somebody gets that damn old, when you're at the age of the average life expectancy for an adult male in the United States, we need to start asking questions. But here's the difference between Trump and Biden. Trump is still mentally sound. If you listen to Trump, you can tell his mind isn't shot. He knows where he is. He knows what's going on. He can still think as himself. Even though if you watch some of the left-wing media clips, they try to clip and edit things that make it sound like he's confused. But Biden, clearly, this man's mind is shot. He has no idea what's going on. He just wants to go home, eat his ice cream, take a nap, get the pens changed. So it depends on the cognitive ability of these individuals. Some individuals just have no idea what's going on, completely see down. Like Fauci, for example, even though he's a lying, evil sack of shit, he's still mentally sound. He's older than Biden, but he's mentally sound. His brain isn't melting like Biden's.
Sanjay, what stands out to you in this doctor's report on President Biden?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good...
Wait. Hey, speaking of Fauci, we got Sanjay Gupta on here, and this lying son of a bitch, he actually helped Fauci. He was one of the main doctors pushing these lies back in 2020, 2021, supporting the shutdown, supporting kids not going to school, saying, oh, we need to take the Fauci ouchie. Oh, Trump is doing such a bad job. This is the worst disease in history. So this is the doctor that CNN has on their staff who was talking so much trash about Trump, but let's see what he has to say here.
Summary. I mean, you have the main doctor, you have 20 specialists who were called in over a few hours. They did lots of different tests, it sounds like. A significant amount of focus, it appeared, from reading the notes, on his spine because of, I guess, the changes that he's had in his gait, in his walking over the last couple of years. They identified arthritis in his spine. He has some degree of arthritis in his feet. They got orthopedic surgeons, podiatrists, neurologists, radiologists all involved. They got x-rays where he actually moved his spine back and forth to see if there was a problem there as well. But pretty much if you look at last year and look at the report from 2023, it tracks pretty close to this year in terms of the medications that he's taking, the significant lab values, and things like his blood pressure and heart rate. I think the biggest thing in the interval between last year and this year is that he has sleep apnea and is now on a CPAP machine. People may be familiar with this, but that's continuous positive pressure that someone sleeps with at night to help keep their airways open, something that people sometimes develop. But they're, as you were just talking about, that's kind of what we know. All
right, so let's get to the good stuff, because they're listing all these things that aren't really a big deal and not really unexpected, especially for a man that age. But the serious, the more concerning health issues, are we going to talk about those, or is that going to be classified? Are we going to gaslight the American people and say, no, he just has a couple of minor issues, but nothing major going on at all? So stop asking questions.
6-page summary, Jake, a little bit more detailed than last year, not as detailed as notes that I've seen in years past. I've been doing this a long time. But that was sort of the gist of it. As I think you were just talking about, no mention of a cognitive exam and an explicit sort of note that
Why not?
If it was needed, the neurologist who did see President Biden would have recommended that exam be done, but that was not the case today, Jake.
So he saw a neurologist, and the neurologist talked to this man and said that he doesn't need a cognitive exam. Is this neurologist paid off? I'm going to use the left-wing media talking points, but I'm going to flip it. Is a neurologist paid off? Who wrote this? Who said Biden only had minor health concerns for a man his age? Nothing to be concerned about. He can still function as the president. He can still be in charge of the nuclear code. We don't need to ask any question about his mental capacity. We don't need a cognitive exam. Don't worry about it. He's good to go. So shut the hell up with the questions.
All right, Dr. Sanjay Gupta and MJ Lee, thanks to both.
So yeah, the doctor must be paid off. So whoever wrote that health summary must be paid off. And I like how CNN softballed this whole thing. They weren't aggressive. They weren't pushing for cognitive exams, because the left-wing media, they actually pushed for Trump, and Trump actually went through with it. He actually sat down and had a cognitive exam, and turns out that, yeah, he's mentally sound. He's himself. Obviously, he's an old man, and you're going to have some health issues, but mentally, he's still Trump. His brain isn't melting. You don't need a team of unelected bureaucrats to run a coup on the country and steal the White House like they've done with Joe Biden. So the media is going to protect him. They're going to act like this is not a big deal, not going to ask too many questions, not going to press on it. And if anybody does ask questions, they're going to say, well, you're not a doctor, and his doctor said he's perfectly fine. So he should be in charge of the nuclear codes. There you have it. That's Joe Biden's health. I guess he's good to go. I guess he's perfectly fine, and he doesn't need an exam. Did they pay off the neurologist? Or does the neurologist himself need a cognitive exam? But let me know what you guys think. Leave me your thoughts below. Share the video. Thanks for watching.